Welcome. Good to have you. Thanks for joining the live broadcast. Coming to you live from the Casa de Borino. I thought we're going to change the scenery a little bit. You know, most of the broadcasts I do are from my headquarters, from my office with a white background, but today I wanted to mix it up a little. You can see right behind me here, that's me and our daughter Lily. This is Hannah, that's a picture of Hannah, and that's one of my favorite quotes that says, "Enjoy the moment, for this moment is your life." Right? So, I'm going to answer your questions. Please post them in the comments next to the video. Once in a while, I'm going to check on that, and I will answer as many as I can in the next 45 minutes or so. And with that, I say, let's get going. All right. So what I'm going to do is switch here. There you go. So you should be able to see my screen, right? That is our broadcast. This is our group. And there are a couple of really good comments and questions that I wanted to address. Let's do this. All right. Welcome, Nicole, I see your question. If I'm making several calls in a day and making appointments, what could be the problem? Well, if you're making several calls in a day and making appointments, then I don't think you have a problem, Nicole. I think what you're trying to say is, what if I'm making calls, but I'm not getting appointments? Is that the case? You're making calls, you're contacting people, but you're not getting appointments. Really good question. So what if you follow the system, you're using the Borino or using the Expired Plus, and you're contacting people, prospecting, but it's not turning into appointments? What is the problem? Well, there can be several things. Number one, volume, quantity. Pure quantity. You, Nicole, and everybody else, you rock stars who've been at it for a while, know that this is a numbers game, that the big chunk of your success will simply depend on the volume, on the amount of people you contact. So if you make 3 calls and not getting appointments, well, you know, 3 a day, not that many. It's not good enough. So the first thing I would recommend is just increase the volume. Call. Second thing is set a goal, not in the number of contacts you make, but the number of conversations and or number of those little appointments that I recommend you go on. So set an appointment. Start with 1. Just 1 a day. Because if you can just talk to 1 person a day, preferably in person, your chances of building trust and connection with somebody increase exponentially immediately. Even if it's just on the phone. But if you can't see them in person, that's better. So number 1, talk to more people, as many as it takes. Number 2, set the goal of conversations and or visits rather than just making raw phone calls, because the dial attempt itself really doesn't count for anything. Third is your mindset. And I struggled with this a long time. This was really one of my kind of big hurdles. You know, I struggled with insecurity. I had a thick accent, and I was Mr. Bora. The accent, mas is good. You know, that's really what I sounded like. And so I had all these insecurities, I had all these preconceived notions that people will not like me, people don't want to talk to me, people are busy, they're angry, they don't want to talk to salespeople. And you know what? As long as I believed that, as long as I held that as my core belief, I created reality that matched that a lot. Almost every single time. And so, set the right expectations. There are people out there who need your help. There are people out there who need a good, competent real estate agent. There are people out there who need to sell, or who want to sell, who would benefit by getting the property on the market and getting it sold. There are people out there today, right now, today, who are signing the contract as we speak, who are listing properties right now. There are agents out there right now taking listings, talking to people, closing transactions, negotiating offers, making money. This very moment. According to the National Association of Realtors, there'll be over 5 million transactions closed in 2016, this year. Think about that number, over 5 million. That means, that's what, about 690 to 700 an hour? Every minute, somebody's getting paid. Why not you? Mindset. There is abundance. There is plenty around you. So focus on that. Shift that mindset. Really expect people to be cool. People who need your service, who would be more than happy to talk to you and explore the possibility of getting a home sold. Okay? Quantity, number 1. Go for conversations, number 2. Change your mindset, number 3. Practice, number 4. Because what practice does is makes you comfortable having a conversation with strangers, talking to strangers, getting on the phone, having not a script. And I'm going to answer, there was another great question you guys posted about should I use script and should I use them verbatim, so we're going to get to that. But number one, if you practice, and all it takes is 20-30 minutes a day for the next 30 days, and you watch how much more confident you're going to be, how well you will be prepared for these conversations, how good you will be in handling objections, answering questions, connecting with people, and most importantly, setting up appointments. But your sense of confidence, your sense of grounding, your sense of power will come from your ability to be ready, to know that they will throw some objections at you, that not everybody will be like, oh, Nicole, so glad you called us, come on down. You know, it doesn't work that way. It's going to take some work and some time and some effort to jump over certain these barrels that they put in your way as a test. Because unfortunately, so many other agents are very incompetent and salespeople and gunning for the commission, and people are scared of that. Nobody wants to be sold, and nobody wants to be pressured, and nobody wants to deal with incompetent agents. Your ability to practice the right dialogues, to practice the right approach, will give you a lot of control over the conversations, a lot more control over the outcomes you're going to get from those conversations. It's just going to feel better, not just for you, but also for the other person you're talking to. So that's my fourth tip, practice. Practice daily. Find a partner, maybe right here on Rockstars. There are plenty of agents out there just like you, eager to succeed, ambitious, who want to better themselves. So practice. Get in a habit of daily routine. Just like musicians, even the biggest rock stars, still practice. Athletes who make a lot of money, basketball players, football players, baseball players, all the top athletes making millions of bucks, practice daily. Everybody who is out there interacting, entertaining, connecting needs to be good at their craft, needs to be awesome. Here's the problem. You guys watch the Olympics? In Olympics, you have gold, silver, and bronze. 3 people get rewarded for their effort, being the best at what they do. Not like in real estate. You come in first, you win. You come in second, you're fucked. You're not getting anything. There's no second place. You're the first loser. So I sometimes see or hear these comments, I see your emails saying, well, I almost got that listing and they liked me, but you either get it or you don't. It's the 1 or 0. And if you do this well, there'll be 1 and a lot of zeros behind it in your bank account. If you screw this up, there'll be a lot of zeros. You get me? So be good at what you do. Point number 5, be an expert. Part of your confidence comes from knowing the dialogue. Second part comes knowing what you're talking about, knowing your market, knowing the contracts, knowing how to get the property sold. It's expected. You must be good at what you do. You must own the market. You must understand the market. You must know the pricing. It's part of your business, part of your job. It's part of your job description. Okay? And then the last one I'll give you, if you want to accelerate it, come do the workshop with me. We're going to do the top confidence. It's here next month. We're about less than 3 weeks away here in DC. We are sold out. That's the bad news. The good news is we occasionally have cancellations because people, last minute health issues, family issues, etc. But if you really want to master how you talk on the phone to your prospects, how you follow up with them, how you present, how you connect with people, any type of leads, not just expireds or FISBOs, online leads, referrals, anybody, then come down here, shoot me a quick email. We may have a couple of extra tickets for you. It's going to be here in DC on the 3rd and 4th of October. We're going to work for 2 days intensely in the classroom on exactly that. How you convert, how you set appointments, how you handle objections, and on day 2, how you handle listing presentation. So visit topconfidence.com. There's a link for the waiting list. We'll put you on the waiting list. And if there is a spot, there usually is a spot that opens, maybe 2, come join me. And you're going to crush it. Because in 2 days, you can master your ability to connect with people, to communicate, and get really good at it. Okay? I hope that answered your question. How to get good and how to get more appointments when you're calling. All right, Nicole? Now, Ed had a similar question. I was just wondering, I posted this on another group, but I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts. I know Borino says use scripts not in the verbatim sense like how a lot of other people seem to use it and teach it, but instead have talking points and use those talking points as a guide as you have your conversation with homeowner. I personally love this method since it still allows me to be me on the phone and not sound like a robot or a telemarketer. What are your guys' thoughts? Verbatim scripts versus guided points of the conversation. Really good question, Ed. How do you approach it? Should you really memorize all the scripts and recite them? Or should you be yourself and use it as guidelines? Short answer, either way works. As long as it works. Because the ultimate test is not in what you think or what your role-play partner thinks or what everybody else who will chime in. And it's great that you chime in, guys. I encourage the conversations there. That's perfect. It's not as much about that, excuse me, as it is about the results you're getting. So if you get on the phone and you're getting appointments, you're connecting with people using your approach, which is my favorite approach, and I'll explain to you why in just a moment. But if that's getting you results you want, meaning you're getting appointments, you're connecting with people, you're putting them on a follow-up, or you're setting up listing appointments and taking listings, don't change a thing. Don't fuck with something that's already working. No need to. But if you're not getting the results you want, maybe it's time to tweak. And you want to tweak two components to your communication. It's kind of nice how today's Ask Verino is turning into a communication confidence connection, because it's tying nicely with the workshop we're going to be doing in a couple of weeks. It wasn't planned this way, it just kind of turned out that way because I know how important it is, how critical it is. The reason, and I know I'm going to take in a detour, but the reason I feel, and the reason I want to spend 2 days with you working with 50 of you in the classroom, is because if you master this, the sense of confidence will spill over to your prospecting, your follow-up, your presentations, and ultimately to the results you're getting, meaning listings taken and money earned. If this is your weak point, if you believe that you can hide behind the computer, that you can still do things where it does not require direct connection with your prospects, you're kidding yourself. It's okay to use online marketing. It's okay to use passive methods of advertising if you have the budget for it and if you have the time, because a lot of these methods will take you months to start converting. But there will still come a point, a junction, where you have to sit down with the seller or get them on the phone or have some kind of interaction with them, either in person or on the phone. And if you screw that one up, you're dead. It's over. If you don't come across as high status, competent, confident agent whom they trust, who they like, whom they respect and follow their advice, you're not going to get a business. There will always be another agent who's going to snag it right in front of your face. Somebody else is going to win the gold medal, and you're going to come in second or third or not compete at all. That's why I feel it's so important. So going back to Ed's question, should I really memorize the script or should I be myself, incorporate my personality in it? I tried both. My background back in Czechoslovakia, as some of you know, I was an actor. I studied acting, studied in college, did acting since I was 4 months old. I did my first diaper commercial when I was 4 months. So I had to memorize a lot of scripts and make them sound natural. So I have quite a bit of experience doing all the movies and television I did there. One of these days I'll post a funny clip on YouTube that I believe kind of summarizes the crazy career I had back then. I digress. My first exposure to training in real estate was Mike Ferry. Good guy, had dinner with him, been to his house, good coach, still well respected, and his stuff works for some of you. Not a big crowd, but definitely it's effective. So I did what Mike said, I went through the workshop, got the scripts, memorized them, recited them. And I worked my ass off for months and months and months, tried to get some leads, mostly door knocking, a little bit of expireds. That was before I built my expired system. This was before I became homeless. But the result of doing it this way, partially, and of course my mindset and other factors, made me a massive failure. Where I get kicked out of a room that I was renting in Downey, California, for those of you guys in Southern California, Los Angeles area. And I slept in my car behind a liquor store in Pico Rivera, California, not far from the office where I worked. So that approach didn't work for me. And I think the reason it didn't work, not just that people, even from a trained actor, perceived it as scripted, which most of the time they do, even if you're really good at it. And I was pretty good at it. But I think the second, excuse me, let me have a sip of water. I think the second problem, isn't it funny how the body still reacts to the stress, me talking about being homeless? That's really what it is. It's crazy. I've come to terms with it now, but still not something I'm really proud of. Well, it depends. Anyway, so I tried that approach. But I think there is a second element to it. When you memorize these scripts, I think at least subconsciously, you create a self-image of a telemarketer and a salesperson. Whether you admit it or not, whether you do it consciously or not, I think on a certain level that happens. And if it does, and when it does, and I think it does in most cases, the problem you're going to run into is that subconsciously you're going to convey that, you're going to send that message out, you're going to communicate that on a nonverbal level to your prospects, which will make your prospecting, your follow-up, your appointments, and ultimately your business in general really tough. This is where you have to engage a lot of willpower, a lot of commitment, and a lot of discipline to break through it, which is exactly what I did, the tank approach. But that will only get you so far, because after a while, either you're going to fail, or you're going to get burned out, or both, which is exactly what happened to me. So here is my summary of this, to answer your question. My suggestion would be, get comfortable with the scripts. If you have the core influence, get comfortable with the dialogue outlines, because there are elements in those outlines that you need to hit. Like the opening with the Expired Plus, when I say, I'm probably not the first agent calling about your house, am I? Notice I say it a certain way, with a smile, where I lighten the mood. That's all part of the pattern interrupt, part of a different opening and reframing of the perception I set up. So it's good to stay close to that outline. With that being said, always keep your personality. And the reason for that, Ed, is because there is something unique about you, something special about you, something only you bring to the table. It is not just about knowing how to get the house sold. There are hundreds of other agents who can do pretty much the same thing you can do, who can deliver pretty much the same result you can. Price the property right, get it marketed, get it sold. That's not what makes you special, and that's not why people do business with you. I think there is something different, something that makes them like you, trust you, and respect you more than the others. And I think to get to that state where you build that kind of connection with people is through genuine, authentic communication, where you still deliver very powerful communication, where you're still in control, where you're still high-status agent. No question about it. It's my phone. Sorry. Let me mute it. You still do all that without the need to resort to being aggressive or pushy or reciting scripts, and they're usually old scripts, sales scripts. The problem you're going to run into if you recite those scripts is you're going to sound like everybody else. And you're going to hear that from prospects. Geez, you're the 7th person asking me the same questions. What the fuck? There was actually an ad, and I don't have a screenshot, but I will post a screenshot in the comments. There was an ad on Craigslist where a FSBO posted, "No agents want it. Please save your script for somebody else." I'll post you the screenshot. It's an authentic, actual ad from Craigslist by a FSBO. How do you think they arrive at that conclusion? By agents who use the same scripts to sound like everybody else. So just like with Nicole, Ed, I would recommend practice it, get comfortable with it, be in control, use the dialogue outlines, use the bullet point, but stay yourself. And don't take advice from other agents. Here is why. If the other agent's giving you advice, you should do this, you shouldn't do that, you should say this, you shouldn't say that. Be very careful. Because as the French say, do not trust a skinny chef. Do not trust agents who tell you what to do but are not doing it. In other words, if the other agent is making $300,000 a year, $400,000 a year, if he or she is taking a bunch of listings and is successful, cool, copy it. Especially if you feel comfortable with it. But if not, be very careful. Take advice from people who either do what you want to do, or from people who know how to coach it because they've been where you are today, like myself. Does that make sense? Yeah? Good. And the fact that you want to role play and practice thrills me. That is fantastic. All right. Let's see what we got, dear rock stars. All right. So that was Ed's question. See, here it is. It's again, you see it? Practice. More listings, practice. Work on yourself. You can deliver your A game. Practice daily. By the way, congratulations. See this one? Linda? Got a nice ride. I love these. I love these posts when something goes well. You get a nice new car. Jessica, rockstar agent Jessica Stone, congratulations. Her and her husband just bought a new house. She came on board a little less than a year ago, right? Jessica, we started working together about a year ago, maybe less. You took a boot camp with me. We worked together. Things have turned around. Husband quit a job. Now he's working with you, Jessica. Things are going really well. I'm really happy for you guys. The brand new car, the homes, the vacations, all that good stuff. It's so exciting to watch. That really is what fulfills me. That's my ultimate goal, to have stories like that. When things go well for you, you're helping people, you're making money, and life is good. So that is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Congratulations. And if you want to buy her old Ferrari, it is for sale. All right, Mr. Bill Cunningham, my good man Bill, just relocated to lovely Naples, Florida, and he has a problem. I'm starting over in a new market and I bring 12 years of real estate experience to the table. I don't have a sphere, my new market, so I'm looking for ideas of bringing new business without a sphere or referral base. Any ideas are appreciated, and thank you in advance, Mr. Bill Cunningham. So let's tackle that one. New market, new area, no past clients to rely on. What do you do? First recommendation is I have a coaching specifically for you guys who are in that position, either starting over or just starting out. It's called Rookie to Rockstar, and the second one is Do or Die, which is what would I do if I started all over again with 0 leads, 0 referrals, new area, and I had 30 days to start cranking listings and leads. These two are part of the Listing University. Just in case you don't know, Listing University is a private membership area that I have. Any system you buy from me, you get it free for 30 days. And it's loaded. There are about 70 recordings now, and we're adding new ones. We just added 5 videos today. Adding new ones, resources, tools, interviews, webinars, podcasts, all kinds of stuff to help you be more successful, get more business. First 30 days are free, then it's only $47, about what you spent in Starbucks last week, right? So if you want to become a member, shoot us a quick email or just post. Roseanne will be in touch. Now, if you don't have access to the Listing University, jump on it, become a member. If you come to DC, if you're doing the workshop with me, you already have 6 months free access, courtesy of Borino. As a thank you for coming. Because I know it's not cheap, airplane, food, hanging out, we're going to drink Sunday night, of course we have to. And then 2 days of the workshop, the hotel and stuff, although we have a good deal on the hotel. So that would be the first things I would do. Watch these 2 training sessions, Do or Die and Rookie to Rockstar. Now, let's just say I move to a new area, start my real estate business all over again. What would I do first? Even without referrals. I would do several things immediately. Number 1, become absolute expert, total inside-out knowledgeable expert on your local market. That's the foundation. You must know what's selling, what the homes look like, basic stuff, when were they built, size, floor models, all that stuff. You must know how long does it take in each particular neighborhood to get a property sold, what is the low price, what would be a good deal, what is the high price, what causes some property not to sell, all that stuff. So you preview actives, you preview pendings, you preview sold daily. And with about 30 days, you should be up to speed. It doesn't take that long. But do this diligently, 3, 4, 5 properties every single day like clockwork. Preview, 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 get to know, get familiar. Talk to other agents. Why did that one sell for $50,000 more than the other one? Talk to appraisals. If the property has a pool, how much value does it add? If there are train tracks behind, we had a stretch of properties in Whittier, California where I used to work. And there was a little train track behind. For a long time, it worked, there was like a train maybe once a day go by, just a little tiny train. And then they shut it down. But the value, the perceived value of the properties was less, even though there were no trains going back and forth. You need to know, if you're doing comps, how much something like that would impact the value of the property. Those are the kind of things you must know. Become a market expert, number 1. Number 2, start building your sphere of influence. Just because you don't have past clients doesn't mean there are people around you who would not send you referrals. Remember the Borino rule. Everybody around you either is a potential client or they know somebody. According to the United States Census Bureau, there'll be 35.7 million people who will move in 2016 in the United States. 35.7 million people, that's a boatload of people. You know, percentage-wise, statistically, out of 100 people in your sphere, 12 will move based on these statistics. So if you have only 200 people in your sphere, your friends, relatives, neighbors, whoever, that's 24 potential moves. Great resource. Now here's where it gets interesting. Compound that, because those 200 people know another 200 people. Now you're spreading it to about 70,000 potential connections. Tons of moves, tons of opportunities around you. So how do you tap into that business immediately? Start with your neighbors. I love what Jessica posted. You guys saw that post where she took a little wagon, got to know her neighbors. You know how you normally get welcomed by the neighbors, like in our neighborhood when we moved to Lake Barcroft here in just outside of DC. We literally had a couple of families who came to our house with cookies. And it was the sweetest thing. I had tears in my eyes. It was so touching. You know, these strangers knock on your door with their kids. They come to introduce themselves. They bring their kids to meet our kids. And it was just a very lovely, touching human moment. So it's awesome. What Jessica came up with is she loaded a little wagon with cookies. Right, Jessica? Those are cookies? And she went door to door, introduced herself, and already got a lead. Somebody already wants to sell their house that way. So that would be my first step, to start expanding your sphere of influence. Get to know your neighbors. Get to know everybody you come in contact with. That means you're a new doctor, and especially service-oriented people, business people, like doctors, like your gardener. Anybody who interacts with a lot of people can be a tremendous source of referrals. Set up a little deal with them. Hey, if you send me a referral, you will get X. Now, what X is, find what's appropriate and what's legal and allowed in your area. But set up some kind of reward. Or sometimes it just means, I have a great car mechanic. The guy who's been working on my Mercedes, trust him with my life. You know, I love my car. You know me, I'm into cars. So I love the service they provide. My light bulb went out, I just bring my card, they didn't charge me anything, I get a nice little espresso, they take care of my car. So one of the first questions I ask is, hey John, how do I know a good client for you? Who can I send your way? Who is a good potential prospect? You start sending prospects out to these people and start networking with them and start communicating with them and connecting with them on a human level. This is not the politician approach where you're just passing out business cards, hoping that something's going to stick. Who do you know who wants to buy or sell? Send me business. I'm desperate. I'm new. You don't want to do that. You want to be cool with them. You want to be connected with them. Especially people who interact with a bunch of other people, like a dentist. You know, they talk to a lot of people, affluent people. So build relationship and connection with them. Send them referral first if you can. Establish connection. They need to know who you are. They need to know what you do. They need to know how to get in touch with you. And they need to know that they can trust you. That you're not going to fuck it up. That you're a good guy who will take care of their clients. Now, with that, all you have to tell them, hey, I'm a Borino student. Of course they will know that. I'm just kidding. So start developing the network, start working on your sphere, start spreading the word, start letting people know that you're helpful, you're cool, you provide good information, establish that nice connection with them as soon as possible. That's step 2. Step 3, start working high probability leads. Establish 3 good funnels and go after them with vigor daily. Now, because you're establishing yourself, because you're new in the area, you must double up your effort. So if you used to prospect 3 hours a day, prospect 4 hours a day. Half of your day, and that goes for everybody really. If you want to have a good year, if you want to make a lot of money, if you want to be successful, spend half of your time, 50% of your time, 4 hours minimum, generating leads. Spend half your time, 50% minimum 4 hours, focusing on getting new business. That is the most important, most profitable, most vital part of your business. If you screw this up, if you don't have systems in place, if you don't focus on it daily, guess what? You're not going to be in the business a year from now, or you're going to struggle. So same with you, Bill, and same with everybody who needs to jump up their production. The reason you're not where you want to be, or the road to get you to where you want to be, like in Bill's case, is work high probability leads daily. Nothing more important than that. So what do? I would pull a list of all the old expires that have not relisted. That'd be the first thing I would do. Call every single one of them. Simple script, use the expired plus script, have a little conversation with them, tell them, look, if a buyer walks in tomorrow, would you consider selling? If they fall in love with the house, they have a suitcase full of cash ready to go, would you at least consider it? Would you entertain the possibility of living somewhere else? Find out, chat with them. Then I would attack new expireds. Go after them, same concept. Call them if you can, visit them, put them on a mail. Set up a mailing campaign, use the expired plus sequence, and just bombard them. Hit them, hit them, hit them. Because you need to build up your presence, your inventory, and your lead sources, your database of leads. Next, if you have them, for sale by owners. 70, 80% in general. Your area will have probably slightly different numbers, but I would be surprised if they're vastly different. I just read a study about Chicago market, the suburban areas of Chicago. Out of 100 for sale by owners, 92 were listed within 2 months. Think about it. So if you have fizzballs in your area, talk to them, work with them, be cool with them. No pressure, no selling, no convincing. Use the Borino soft approach, no resistance approach. Okay? One good open house once a week. Pick a day that works well, and this is something you need to test. It varies. In my area, Saturdays were good. Saturday afternoon from about noon to 4, good window to do an open house. I would get a lot of families with kids still in the cleats after soccer games or baseball games. I would chat with them. Now what you want to focus on is not buyers. Don't get trapped with buyers. You want to focus on sellers. That means buyers who need to sell something first, or buyers who want to buy that listing, or sellers in the neighborhood. Okay? So that's what you want. Next, if you have existing leads, keep in touch. Set up a good follow-up system. Keep in touch with everybody. Mandatory. Mandatory. Okay? Be in touch with everybody. Keep in touch. follow up, follow up, follow up. Also on a social level, we're headed towards the holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. Good time to interact with people. So if you want to get to know your neighbors, that would be a good opportunity. Meet new people, interact with them. And they work like hell. Other agents are doing it in your area, no reason why you couldn't. Then later, once you have these systems up and running, you can focus on long-term leads, like online leads. They take a long time. There's an incubation time before you can convert them into listings. So you can focus on that, but start with the high probability leads first. ¿Está bien? All right, Mr. Bill, hope that answered your questions. Okay, this is the information about top confidence. If you're considering coming, you would like to know more about it, you just want to talk to me about it, you're considering coming, shoot me a quick IM over Facebook or email me borino@expertplus.com or go to topconfidence.com/live and there's a link where we put you on a mailing list. Haley has a question. Hi guys, I posted last week, but I'm back asking for tips again. Any tips or pointers for a brand new real estate agent? I'm so overwhelmed. Where to begin? Kind of similar to what Mr. Bill is going through, except new agent. So what do? How do we help Haley? Same approach, Haley. Just what I talked about. Spend your time two ways. Mastering your craft. That means practicing daily. Especially your confident communication. How you come across. Because as a new agent, I had a lot of insecurities. A lot of hesitation, a lot of worries, a lot of... I was nervous. One of my first expired listings, I pull up in front of the house, I have the paperwork with me, and I sit in the car for 20 minutes. I didn't have the balls to get out. You know? So we deal with all that. And now maybe you feel more confident. Maybe it's no big deal for you. But even subconsciously as a new agent, we send these signals. One of the things that we're going to be working on in the class is how we send insecurity signals without being aware of it. These are micro-expressions. They're not noticed consciously, but subconsciously we instantly register them. So it's going to be fun for you to watch somebody on a big screen, and I will point those out to you. I will also show you, I will teach you how you can tell if somebody is not 100% honest with you. How we conceal that we're not being truthful. Wouldn't that be helpful? Like you talk to a seller and suddenly you get a red flag that something they're telling you may not be 100% true. People think they're honest and people think they conceal and hide well when they're not truthful or they literally lie to you. So I will show you some of the things to watch for. Pretty good stuff. So going back to your question, Haley. Master your craft, your communication. Get in a habit of role-playing for 20, 30 minutes a day. That's what I did. I had my buddy Tony. We would drink coffee in the morning and just role-play for 30 minutes every single day. And it took me about a month and suddenly it felt different. You know, suddenly I was able to connect with people better. Suddenly they would respond more because I was more confident. I sounded more connected with them. The next, prospect. Get in a habit of prospecting. It is the most important activity in this business, is generating business. Focus on getting leads. Just like I was telling Bill. New and old expireds, for sale by owners, open houses, and start working your sphere of influence on a social level where you're interested in people, you connect with people. Generating leads, that's the first and number one priority. Spend most of your day getting leads. The agents, you guys, my students, some of you doing $500,000, $500,000 or more. Why are they doing it? What is the main difference? It is not their marketplace, it is not their age, it is not the years in the business. They have a system. They have a system of generating leads. That's the first thing that stands out. I had a student in my workshop last year, Mr. Mike, from not far from here in Virginia. Killer Keller Williams agent. He came to me, was doing about $640,000 in gross commissions. We tweaked some of these things, including his communication. He came to the class, spent 2 days with me. Now he's on target for doing over $1 million. $1 million in commissions. You can do the same thing. I don't promise it. I don't guarantee it, obviously. But it's out there. It's possible. Your communication, vital. Next system you're going to add to it, once you have these leads come in, it'll be your follow-up. You must have a good follow-up in place because the majority of your conversion will happen on a second, third, fourth, fifth, or more contact. Because certain leads, especially expireds, you know how they get burned out, they get confused, and they're angry, and they're kind of aloof, they put up this wall. Sometimes you break through it on the first contact, but often it will take repeated attempts for them to start getting familiar with you, where they recognize your name. Oh, Haley, yeah, I remember. They are comfortable talking to you, where they don't just try to get rid of you, hang up the phone, and they trust you. And good repeated follow-up and good communication during that follow-up, because just blasting postcards out there, everybody else is doing shit like that. Because it's low resistance, safe, but not very effective. Where you as a rock star combine it, mail, email, video if you have it, personal visit, phone calls, texts, you combine it all in a beautiful multi-package of multi-channel communication, which is the most effective way of doing it. Okay? So those are some of the tips, and just stay with it, work it, work it, work it, work it. You're building a new business. That's not going to happen overnight. That doesn't mean you cannot make money right away. It just, there are certain things that will take a little bit of time, like the conversions from prospect to a lead, from a lead to an appointment, from appointment to a listing, from a listing to a commission to a lifestyle. Okay? Helpful? Yes. All right. Let's see what we got on our live feed. Let me refresh it here. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Oh, thanks for all the likes. I'm glad you're liking it. Good. Mr. Brian Casella, congratulations. The lovely new look of the car. Love it, man. Have you guys seen it? He drives this beautiful Nissan. Is it GTA? Killer sports car, and he just gave it a nice new look. Call it the Flash, I think. It's pretty nice. Oh, Shanta has a nice comment there. Shanta from DC says, yes, I've increased both phone calls and conversations. Has made huge difference. Good. Okay. Brian says, I practiced 2 hours a day when I started. Made a world of difference immediately. And that's a GTR. There you go. Yeah, sweet ride. They're like $80,000 cars. Super killer fast. Bitchin' car. Love it. Nice. All right. Mr. Brian is a rock star, killing it in Southern California. He's in Hacienda Heights area, not far from where I used to work. Door knocks, prospects, everyday hustles, and the boy's making money. He's successful. Brian, are you coming to DC? We'd love to have you down here, by the way. All right. So we had answered Nicole's question, if she's making calls but not getting appointments, where the problem is. All right. So let's see if we have anything else. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention to you guys. Next week, I'm doing a live webinar for you, another live coaching session for Listing University. It's going to be on how to follow up with expireds. We're going to break it down because I see more and more questions where you're not 100% clear how to incorporate postcards, should you use letters, how to call them, how often, all that. So we'll talk about that next week. And we're also going to do another role play session this Saturday. Email will go out tomorrow. So if you have some time, have a cup of coffee with me on Saturday and come and role play. We're going to do it on noon Eastern time, which will be 9 o'clock on the West Coast. We'll spend about an hour on the phone doing actual live role plays. So wherever you get stuck, maybe it's a specific objection you get stuck, or you're just not getting through with expireds, you're getting stonewalled, or you need help with FSBOs, or just setting up appointments. So we're going to practice all that live, okay? So that'll be this Saturday, noon Eastern. Okay, looks like we answered it all, right? Kevin has a good question. How can you handle we're going to rent it? Really good question. What if the seller says, no, we don't want to sell, we want to rent it? If the house was up for sale before, many times they use this, we're going to rent it, we already have an agent, we don't know what we're going to do, we're not going to relist, we're going to think about it, we're going to wait till the holidays are over. You as a master communicator, and part of what I'm going to teach you in the class here in DC, is how to decipher not just the words they're using, but their communication in general. What do they really mean? Is it a brush? Are they just trying to get rid of you because there is not enough trust, so they just kind of go whoosh, you know, for you to disappear? Or are they serious? Especially if it's an expired listing, sometimes they don't know what the hell they want to do. Because they had these hopes and dreams and plans. They hired an agent who they think was competent, who's going to help them, turn out to be a dud, some asshole didn't get the job done, and now they're stuck. So they're frustrated, they're confused, and they're afraid that they're going to make another mistake. There's going to come another agent who's going to talk them into it, convince them they're going to regret that decision later. Now you come in. So their first natural reaction is to get rid of you. That's how we all do it. I was in Nordstrom's no longer. I was buying a couple of new shirts because I'm doing some live seminars. I want to look good, you know. So I was just getting some shirts, ready to buy. I had literally checked my pocket. Okay, got my wallet, so I'm going to buy. I walk into the Nordstrom, and this dude, and granted, his approach was kind of harsh and kind of a little bit standoffish. At least it came across that way. And he says, can I help you? What do you think I said? Exactly. I'm just looking, no thank you. 20 minutes later, I walked away with 2 shirts. And a coat. My point is, this is their knee-jerk, automatic, protective reaction to tell you, we're going to rent it out. Is it possible they're going to rent it out? Yeah, of course. It's totally possible. Can you help them with that? That would be one of the first things I would offer. I said, look, if you're better off just renting it, if you don't think that getting it sold is an option, then cool. I would be more than happy to help you with that. Or at least point you in the right direction and advise you a little bit, because it can get trickier, especially if you've never done it before. But let me ask you this. Would you be better off getting it sold for a good price and fairly quickly? Or is it really better to rent it out? Here's the thing. Don't pressure them. Don't anticipate an answer, because that will sway you towards manipulation. And they will sense it. They will reject it. They will shut you out. So you don't want to do that. You really want to explore, because I'm sure you have sellers who may be better off just renting it out. If the money's not that important to them, if they're not that motivated, if it's in the area that would be fairly easy to rent it out and they can live off that rent, meaning whatever they can get for it monthly is okay with them, then why would they sell? You know, if there is not enough core drive and emotion, if they don't have enough motivation, if the desire or the need to sell is not really there, then why bother? And there is nothing you can do or say to convince them otherwise. Because that would be just selling. You would create pressure, and pressure creates resistance. And that's the fastest way for them to get rid of you, is when they start sensing that you're desperate for the listing and for the commission. You are passionate, you want to help, you want that listing if it's good for them to list and sell, but not until you're clear that's really what they want, that's really what's good for them, and that's really where it's going to go. So by communicating with them and asking them questions like, well, where do you see yourself 6 months from now if they live in the property? Would you be better off living in Florida, or are you better off here? Because getting it sold is not really a problem. That's what I do for a living. That's why I only take homes, I take clients and listings I know I can sell. Because once we agree to work together, meaning I like you and I trust you and you like me and you trust me, you're going to start packing. That's what I do for a living. Now, I'll stay with it, and that's my commitment to you, that I will stay with it until the property is sold and you're on your way. So if that's what you want, we can make that happen. That's what I do. But the question is that really the best possible solution for you? Let's explore. Let's find out. Now there's no pressure, because I have no agenda. Are you getting that? Now some of you go, shit, slow down, Borino, let me write that down. It is not really in just the words. They're important, and there are certain code words that are included, certain trigger words. But it's not just that. It's my general attitude of, I'm here to help, I'm being cool, let's explore this together, let's figure this out together. Does that make sense, guys? So that's how I would approach it. Have a conversation with them, tell them selling it is not a problem. If that's what you want, we'll sit down for 20-30 minutes. I will show you exactly how I get it done, how I sell my properties within the first 90 days, sometimes much sooner, for a really good price, for the most money we can put in your pocket, most cash you can walk away with. We'll explore some possibilities of getting some improvements done to make sure that the property shows nice and buyers are impressed and are ready to buy it. But let's first figure out what's best for you. I'm here to help. If finding a good tenant is really the best solution, let's make that happen. Because who knows, down the road, maybe the tenant decides to buy a house from me, or you send me a referral, I get paid one way or another. I'm not worried about the commission. We'll worry about that later. Let's worry about you and how I can help you solve your situation. Cool? So that's how I would approach it. Was it helpful? Yeah, Andy is exactly right. Provide value and be helpful agent, not leaning towards closing them right away. Exactly right, Andy. That's exactly right. Do you have scripts that an assistant to an agent can use that will help get appointments? Nicole, I do not. You just modify the scripts you have for me. That's all you got to do. Now, I believe you need to master the communication first. Don't force your assistant to do something you don't feel comfortable or you don't master first. You will never train a stranger, whether they work for you or not, to do your job. And I believe your job is to communicate with people. Now you have an in-house selling agent who will set appointments for you, and you've mastered this, you can train them. Just don't expect them to be nowhere near as good as you. You and I are entrepreneurs. We are a strange bunch. You know, we are different. And somebody who has a salary mentality, who is an assistant or just a telemarketer agent you hire, will never be as good as you and I. It's just a different nature, different mindset, different approach. Because if they were so good, they could become agents themselves, because this is the hardest part, is getting the business, getting the leads. You're following the logic? So don't expect that much from them. You master it first. Don't hide or don't push the uncomfortable responsibility on somebody else. Okay, Kim is saying, hello, Roger, Mr. Roger Hire. Very nice to have you. Congratulations on having an awesome year. You guys are crushing with Rosie. Good to have you. Vasily is saying hello. Barbara has a question. What do you say to people who keep in touch with them who are practically strangers, people who can't buy for a few months? Be cool and be helpful. One of the tricks I teach you, and we're going to work on this in detail, is how to make a stranger feel comfortable talking with you. I use several techniques, organic techniques. These are not shenanigans. This is not some shady stuff, but it's very powerful. One of the things I do is when I open the conversation, in my mind, I picture the other person to be somebody I'm very familiar with. Somebody that's a friend, somebody who's I talked to before, whether I did or not, doesn't matter. But my tone, my tonality, my posture, my physiology is just as if I was talking to a good friend. My tone of voice is just as, it's really nice chatting with you again. Notice in the one little line I convey comfort, pleasant tone. And a lot of it comes from practice. That's number one. Number two, pick the conversation as if it was going on for a while. Don't start with, allow me to introduce myself. Or maybe you remember that we talked a month ago. Or any other phrase that a salesperson would use. Or, how are you today? You're instantly labeled as a salesperson who wants to sell me something or who needs something from me. Resistance goes up. Wall goes up. Objections, brushes, trying to get rid of you. So don't do that. Start a conversation in the middle. Keep it informal, be helpful, offer something interesting, listings in the neighborhood, new sales, anything that a person would find interesting, and just be in touch. Now, if that's a buyer, don't bother. Refer buyers out. Don't work with buyers. Barbara, if you want to have a profitable business, you focus on sellers, you focus on listings. You want to control the market, you want to control your time, you want to control your income, you want to control your destiny and your sanity. Stop working with buyers. Develop a relationship with another agent. Refer buyers out for a referral fee. The only exception is your sellers, buyers who want to buy your listings, where you can double end it, and buyers who need to sell something first before they can buy. That's it. All right? Melanie says, I'm listening to you in my car and I love it. Melanie, drive safely. Watch out for the car in front of you. It might be GTR. All right, guys. Is that helpful? Good. People are loving it. Good. Thanks for all the love you're sending my way. I love it, love it, love it. All right, Dave Miller has a question. How to cut off the help you are giving them when you feel they're just milking you for information? Dave, that's a good question. When do you cut off the help? A lot of it's just your instinct. But I think if you feel like I'm giving them too much and I'm not getting enough back, you got it wrong. You're going in with too much of an agenda and expectation. People can pick up on it. I know you can pick up on it. I can pick up on it. We have the sensors that are pretty sensitive to that kind of stuff. So I would recommend, don't be afraid to give too much information. The only problem you're going to run into, Dave, is if you give them too much information where you just overload them with details. And one example I can give you from my experience was where I talked too much during a listing presentation. Because I felt like to position myself as an authority, as an expert, I must tell them all the details I'm going to do to get the property sold. You know, the reality, they don't give a shit. What they really want to know is, are they in good hands? Do you really know what you're doing? Can they trust you? Will they get the job done? Can they go on with their life? So the misinformation I had in my head, or a false belief, was I need to talk a lot, I need to impress them, I need to show them how competent I am. It doesn't work that way. So it really depends where you give them enough information. But if it's a for sale by owner, and once a week you give them a little tip to get the property sold, you can't overdo it, because statistically you already know that 8 out of 10 will list with an agent. So it's just a matter of being patient and keeping in touch before you start converting them. You can't overdo it. Be cool, be helpful. Just be sensitive so you don't overload them. But beyond that, be giving. Be giving. Be in the mind of abundance. There's abundant amount of business, abundant amount of clients, money, and resources available to you. And if you're cool with people and you are coming from a point of giving, like me right now, I could be charging for this, I could be doing... Notice that I don't have coaching programs per se, like you sign up for a year and I charge you $500 a month for a year and you get this information. I do it for free. And this is better information that you're going to get from a bunch of all those Yahoo coaches who never sold a house in their life. And the reason I know that is because so many of you come to me and says, oh, I did this training with this guy and that guy, and I'm still broke, or I'm still not where I want to be. So I come from the mindset of giving and sharing. Here's what I know. Some of you right now are thinking about coming to DC. You will come, we'll set you up, you will prosper. Some of you will get my systems, my phone, you know, the buzzing you heard a little while ago, there's just a notification that one of you bought something, which is awesome. Welcome aboard. Thank you. So I know that some of you will convert into clients, but here's the second part to that. If I just spend focus and time and energy on those that give me money, what about the rest of you? Many of you never bought anything. We're still cool. We're still friends. I'm still here to help. I share just as much. And that's okay. My relationship to you doesn't change based on the amount of money you spend with me. Not true. Not true, because some of you total rock stars who own every single system I have and who thrive, I give you a little more time and attention if you need it in workshops and everywhere else. But in general, my approach is the same. I know some of you will become clients, awesome, but those who won't, it's cool. Coming from the point of sharing, giving, knowing that the money will come, Dave. That there's plenty around you, plenty of people who need your help, who need the information, who need the resources you have, and who will gladly pay you for it. Do you have to work for it? Yes, of course. Yeah, but you're going to work one way or another. You're going to do something one way or another. Might as well get paid well for it. And one of the best, most effective ways, be cool with people, don't push them, be open and honest with them, don't have an agenda. Now, that doesn't mean you're not passionate, you're very passionate. That doesn't mean you don't want listings. Of course you want listings. It doesn't mean you don't want clients. You want clients, you want to help people. But you're never stuck on just one lead or one seller, on one situation, one transaction. Because if that falls apart, suddenly your head falls apart, it explodes, and I know that from experience. But if you follow the systems, if you have 10 listings on the market, if one cancels on you, big deal. Good riddance. You know what I mean? So it's a different mindset. So share, give, be cool. Now budget your time. Time is your most valuable resource. I'm not talking being wasteful, especially when it comes to time. Especially when it comes to time. And it's interesting because those that struggle, usually those of you guys who are not, again, at the level where you feel like this would be a good lifestyle, and we're talking 200,000, 300,000 or more, it's usually number one reason is because you're wasting your time. Right or wrong? Be honest. You're fucking around too much. You spend too much time answering emails you don't have to be answering, or not at least during the productive times, the green zone, where you could be doing something very productive. Okay? Be frugal with your time, but be generous with your information, with your willingness to share, with your knowing that there's plenty all around you. Cool? Kim says, I kept in touch with a lead from an open house. These people put their house FISBO, but want me to find them a house. How should I handle it? Kim, that's a really good question. How do you handle it if they're a FISBO, but they want your help? Here's what I would do. My approach with this kind of situation, by the way, great lead. Lock them in. You already have a good relationship with them. There's a lot of trust. Where they don't trust you at is on the side of getting the property listed with you because they believe that they will save money by selling themselves. Natural, logical reaction. Many sellers feel that way. Once you have enough level of trust established, that's going to take a little bit of time. And once they realize how hard it is to sell the property, they will start exploring possibility of listing with an agent. You are in the first position right now. If you don't fuck it up, you have a good chance of locking in that listing. First, let them experience what it's like to try to sell on their own. There's nothing you can say or do right now that would convince them otherwise. On contrary, the more you try to convince them, the more they feel like, oh, he's desperate to get a listing, stay away from that guy. On contrary, encourage them. Help them. Because there is a small chance they're going to sell on their own. Chances are they won't, but what if they do? So be it. They saved commission, makes sense to them. Now, there will come a time, and that can be as soon as next week, where they suddenly realize, Jesus, this is really a lot of work. We better talk to Kim about this. Then you come in and says, well, it is a lot of work. That's why 90% of the transactions in our area are handled by agents, are listed by agent. Even if the seller pays commission. Here's why. Would you consider listing with an agent if there was a good chance you would put more cash in your pocket even after paying a commission? Now notice this is one of those dialogues where I encourage you to follow closely how I word it. I'm not promising or guaranteeing they're going to sell for more or put more money in their pocket if they list. But there is a possibility, because year after year, you guys study the reports from National Association of Realtors. Properties sold by owner sell for 20, 30, sometimes 40,000 less, as opposed to those who are listed with an agent. So even if the seller pays the commission, they still walk away statistically with more money. Not always, of course, not in every area, not in every case, but in general, if they list with you, they're better off. They sell it faster, more exposure, better negotiation, more resources, they're in better hands. That's why they need you, but they just don't know it yet. That's how you approach it. You approach it with passion, but you approach it with patience as well. Because this is something they need to experience on their own first. They need to give it a try first. They need to find out how hard it really is. And it is hard. And then you come in like a rock star, say, okay, plan B. Then you sit down with them, go over a good listing presentation, cover the part of a for sale by owner where you compare the disadvantages and advantages of being a FSBO, and the type of buyer they're going to have, the volume of buyers they're going to have when they list with a good agent, and they will clearly see the advantage of going with you. All right, Kim? Helpful? Keep in touch with them. Keep in touch. Talk to them every 7 days. Be in touch. Sometimes often. It's okay to keep sending them properties to keep them engaged and excited. Nothing wrong with that. But I would not waste my time showing them anything, because you tell them, and then what? What if you find a perfect property? We don't even have a buyer for yours. You can't make a move. Can you buy this property without the money you get from your house? Probably not, right? So we need to do it in the right order. Let's get this one on the market, start marketing it, and then we can explore where you're going to move and try to find you the right house. Okay. All right. Eddie says, I am going crazy right now with a buyer who wants to see every house on MLS in any town at any price that does not exist. Thank you. Today's the end. It's the listings only from now on. Eddie, thumbs up. You're going to thank me. You switch your marketing, you switch your mindset, you switch your prospecting to listings, you will never look back. I mean, look around, Eddie. All the agents, solid agents making 2, 3, 4, 500,000 a year. Every single one has a buyer's agent. You never see top producers in their Rolls Royce or in their Lexus or Mercedes chauffeur buyers around on weekends. That never happens. They play golf, they're on the boat, they're with the families. It's schmucks like you and I driving around Saturdays and Sundays, showing 20 homes, writing offers and working so that the dude can come in on Monday and review your offers and pick the best one and enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's a different mindset, different business model. Don't work buyers. Period. With those exceptions we talked about. Excellent. Eddie, keep me posted. Roland wants to know, Mr. Roland Thompson, can you talk a little about structuring your time during the day and week, using time effectively and sticking to a schedule? Wonderful question. I have an entire coaching session that's about 90 minutes where I break it down hour by hour, minute by minute, how you should schedule your time, and more importantly, how you actually stick to that schedule, because those are two very different issues. It's one thing to put everything on the calendar or have a nice long to-do list. It's something very different to actually get that shit done. Speaking from experience. So with that, how do you plan your day and stick to the plan? My recommendation is, Roland, get in a habit of time blocking and sticking to that time block. So here's what I would recommend to do. Here we are on Wednesday. Before you go home tonight, before you close the shop tonight, get a calendar, preferably paper. There's something committing about ink on the paper that cannot be as easily moved or erased or changed or deleted as it is if you're using electronic like Google Calendar. But whatever you use is fine for now. And then set your schedule up for tomorrow by asking this question. What is one most productive, most profitable thing that I must accomplish tomorrow that will get me closer to my goals? What is one thing I must accomplish tomorrow that is the most productive, most profitable thing that will get me closer to my goals? And then focus on that first. Now, of course, my assumption would be it has to do with lead generation. Because if you get your lead generation done every single day, systematically, repeatedly, with persistence, that will solve most of the problems. Your income problem for sure, your real estate problem for sure, working with shitty clients for sure. If you focus on generating good quality leads daily. And then just break it down. What do you want to focus on? You know my recommendation is always the same. Focus on high probability leads. New expireds, old expireds, just like I recommended to Nicole and Bill and everybody else. Start with new expireds, old expireds. Work those in the morning. Contact 1 or 2 for sale by owners every day. With email, go for the appointment. Then you hop in the car, and then you start merging. You visit a couple of expireds, drop off the package, have a little conversation. Then you visit a for sale by owner, have a little conversation, preview the house. Then you preview 3 or 4 properties. And now you have a productive morning where you talk to some people, establish some relationship, maybe set up a listing appointment, previewed some properties, you're back in the office by noon. You start this at 9, by noon, you're done. Most productive stuff has been done. Then you have a little lunch, maybe do a little follow-up, do some role play, practicing, educate yourself, and then admin time would be in the afternoon. That's the time where you fuck around. That's the time when you answer emails, go on Facebook, watch YouTube videos, talk to other agents, handle paperwork. In the afternoon, where your energy is down, when your mind cycles are slower. Don't waste that time, that precious fuel in the morning. Get the productive stuff done in the morning where you're fresh, when you're ready to go. Okay? That's how you set it up. And you do this daily. And then on weekend, use the weekend as the opportunity to connect with people in person because people are home, easier to reach. So let's say there's an expired you're chasing down. And you visited them, nobody home, you left the package. But you know it's a good listing, you know it's hot, the seller will list soon. It's in a desirable area, the house looks nice. Go back on Saturday or Sunday morning. Visit 2 or 3 like that. Visit a couple of FSBOs. FSBOs usually do open houses on the weekend. If they do, go knock on the door, talk to them. How's the open house going? You need more signs. You don't have enough signs. I had a hard time finding your property. You need more exposure. My open house signs, I use from 8 to 12 signs for each open house. That's how I get 20, 30 people come through my open house. Would you like me to lend you some? Or better yet, do you want me to hold an open house for you next weekend? I'll help you out if you want. I don't promise it's going to sell, but who knows? We can give it a try. You know what I mean? So you do that on the weekend. That's how it's structured. Definitely take 1 day off, mandatory. 1 day off minimum. You need some downtime where you don't check your emails, you don't check your smartphone, you don't return phone calls, you shut down. You need to mentally reset, relax and reset so that come Monday, you're ready to go. Okay? That's how I do it. Hope that was helpful. Dave Miller says, thank you, you're very welcome. Norm has a question. I'm new to your site. If I had to only purchase one system from you, what would it be? Norm, the first thing I would recommend is come to DC. Because the amount of work I can do in person with you, you will not get from any of the systems as fast. Not to mention, you get 2 systems with it that come in a package. We came up with this package, and I decided that everybody who's coming will get it. You will get the core influence, which is a set of dialogues and the techniques, how to communicate with people on the phone and in person, how to present. And you get my Presentation Plus, the most advanced listing presentation system in the world. You get those free with the ticket. So that would be my first recommendation. Now, I know that it's kind of close. We're getting close. It's October 3rd and 4th, or 4th and 5th. Monday and Tuesday, first week in October. Number 1 and number 2, if you're out of the area, travel and stuff, not that easy. But again, if you can, if it's even possible, I would suggest come. My second recommendation would be to start with a lead generation system, Norm. Either get the Expired Plus or get the Borino, or get both. But I would start with a good lead generation system because generating good quality leads is the jumpstart you need first. Because without leads, the rest just doesn't matter. You can have the best follow-up, you can have the best presentation, you can know the market really well, you can know the paperwork really well, nobody cares. It doesn't matter. If you don't have leads, you don't have a business, you have an expensive hobby. So start with that. If you have expireds in your area, get the Expired Plus. If you have FSBOs in the area, get the Borino. If you have both, get both. Implement them both. You should be up and running within days. Don't overthink it. Don't get stuck perfecting stuff, setting everything up perfectly. Don't need to. Get it up and running. One of the things you're going to get with either system is I will get on the phone with you personally and I'll help you set everything up. It's an implementation session. You'll get access to my calendar. You'll schedule a session and you and I will set it up. So it's not just sitting on your shelf like many other things you guys bought, and I know, don't need to share the stories, I've heard them all. You know, you buy stuff, you're all excited, and the next new shiny thing comes. And so I want to avoid that. So I want to help you get it up and running very quickly so you start getting leads quickly, start getting listings, and start making commissions. Groovy? So we'd love to have you on board. Tom has a question, so don't do open houses on your own listings. Excellent question, Tom. The answer is it depends. If you have a good listing that would make a good open house, by all means do it. That would be my first choice. If you have a listing. Now, what makes a good open house? Easy to access. You don't have to go through a whole bunch of streets and turns to get to it. Not far from busy street, but not on a busy street. In other words, I don't have to spend 20 minutes to get from the main highway to the actual property. Shows well. Shows nice. Nice curb appeal. Appealing house. Affordable price range. Priced well. Good listing. Not something that's been on the market for a year that everybody and their mother has seen. In a desirable, safe neighborhood with a cooperative seller. Those are the criteria. If you have listings like that, absolutely great. Hold them open, work them. The chances of you actually getting the property sold are small. And make that clear to the seller that you will attempt it, you will try, you will do your best. But to get a buyer for that particular property through open house, the chances are small. We're going to do it. We're going to give it a shot. I'm going to do my best to generate traffic. We'll see what happens. Because if you don't set that up right, at the end of the open house, you tell the seller, well, we got 25 people through, but nobody bought it. He'll be like, well, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? So set the expectations at the beginning. So yes, start with your own listing. If you don't have it, look in your company's inventory, what would make a good listing, and then look outside. I held open houses for other offices. No problem there. Especially with agents, and I would develop relationships with agents who took good listings, but who were busy. And if they had an inventory of 10, 15 properties, of course they can't hold every single one of them open. So pick one. Pick a good one. Now, the trick is you door knock the neighborhood, you promote the open house, you use a lot of signs, you use a guest register. So you don't just sit there hoping somebody's going to show up, you make it happen. And if you really want to know how to make it happen, just get the Open House Plus, and for $100, I'll give you a lot of tips how to make that happen. Cool? Barbara has a fantastic question. Do you think floor duty is a waste of time since most buyers call it? Absolutely. It's a total waste of time. You don't control who's going to call. You don't control how many calls you're going to take. You don't control if anybody will call, how motivated they are, or they're just fishing. Yeah, it's a total waste of time. If you can get out of it, don't do it. Because if you invest the 2 or 3 hours or whatever time you're required to be on the phone on floor duty, if you can invest it wisely, generating leads where you're in control, you're actively prospecting, you're actively marketing yourself, you're talking to people, you're connected with people, or you're supporting it by doing mailings, emails, communication, you're much better off in the long run. Now, yeah, Borino, but this one time I got this call and I got this listing. Well, great. But if I can't control it, if I don't drive that sucker where I decide how many contacts, how many leads they will generate, where I can project and build a business model around it, what's the point? Especially with buyers. Because if they call one office, guess what? They call 5 others. And now we have 5 other agents clobbering, fighting for that lead, fighting for that buyer. Fuck them, let them go. Refer them at best. If it's a good buyer, and some are good people, I'm not knocking buyers, don't get me wrong. It's just as a business model, as a profit model, it's a flawed model. It will not work. So don't do it if you can. All right, guys. I think we covered all of that. Oh, okay. Here's the URL for those of you who wanted to know. If you want to explore the seminar, the workshop here in DC, topconfidence.com/live is the URL. It is sold out. We have a waiting list. If you come on waiting list, we will contact you. There may be a couple of tickets that opened up. I will let you know. Saturday, we're going to work together on a little role play session. Looking forward to that. Next week, we're going to do a live webinar, how to follow up with leads. For those of you going to Fusion, Lab Coats Fusion, 3-day intense, awesome event down in Miami. I'm excited about that. I will be one of the speakers there. My friends Tristan and Nick are putting it together, and it's going to be out of this world. Great event this year. In my opinion, the strongest, most loaded event in terms of content will be down in Miami. So if you can't make it to DC, that would be my second choice. Come join us for the Fusion event. I don't know if there are still tickets available, but if you go on Lab Coats, there is a link there. Good group, good real estate group as well. And is a post here on the Rockstars as well. My friends, it's been over an hour. I enjoyed chatting with you immensely. We're going to do this again. I really like these sessions. I really like interacting with you. And I really like sharing stuff that you can use right away, put it to use, make some money. Go help some people. There's business around you. This is a great time to do it. This window, September, October, November, December, is a fantastic opportunity to load it up. There'll be 1 million homes listed, mark my words, 1 million in the next 4 months, maybe more. Tons of listings will be hitting the market. Somebody's making money. Why not you? Many agents mentally will already shut down. They will still show up for work, but they will not work because they will start buying into their own bullshit. The holidays are coming, Thanksgiving, people don't want to do anything, they're going to wait until the first of the year. If you check the statistics, more homes are sold and closed in November, December than in January. What does that tell you? Somebody's going to make money, smart people like you. So don't give up, go for it. If they want to wait and if they have a solid reason, nothing wrong with that. Just put them on a follow-up. Set up an appointment for January, why not? But be ready that there's a big chunk of business happening around you right now. So go get it. All right? Thanks for being here today. Your coach Borino saluting his real estate rock stars. I enjoyed this immensely. Thanks for all the feedback, all the questions. Keep them coming. We'll do another session most likely next Wednesday. Stay tuned. But we're definitely doing a role play session on Saturday. Hope you join me. Look for an email and also post here. It's just going to be a phone number. You're going to dial in a number where you're going to call and we're going to role play and practice, and then a webinar next week on how to follow up with expireds. More good stuff coming your way, more videos. I did a fantastic, difficult, touching, emotional, and powerful interview yesterday with Mr. Troy Copeland. Troy, if you're watching this, thank you so much. I reviewed the footage. We spent over an hour chatting yesterday. It is, in my opinion, out of all the, and I've interviewed hundreds of you guys over the years, but in my opinion, one of the most powerful interviews I've done. And once you watch it, you understand why. So that will be available within the next few days. Look for it. More stuff on Listing University, some new videos there. If you want to be a member, let me know. You can always post a comment here or just email me, borino@expiredplus.com. I'll talk to you all real soon. Have a terrific afternoon. Let's go get them. Bye, everybody.